The chaos began in a single heartbeat. The luxurious conference hall of the Grand Aurora Hotel, filled with sunlight pouring through towering glass windows, suddenly fell silent as the realization hit everyone like a shockwave. The billionaire investor, Leonard Walsh, the man whose presence alone could shift markets, had just discovered that his translator, the one crucial person who could communicate with the foreign delegation sitting patiently across the table, had been delayed by a canceled flight. The representatives, flown in specifically for a multi-million-dollar renewable energy partnership, spoke no English, and the deal required clear, precise communication. Without the translator, everything would collapse. A year of negotiations, travel, planning, and hope would evaporate. Leonard's face drained of color, and panic flickered behind his confident exterior as he tried to maintain composure. His executives whispered frantically, fingers tapping on their phones searching for replacements, but nothing could be arranged in time. The delegation had already hinted they would walk away if the meeting did not begin within minutes, and news cameras outside were waiting for an announcement that could change the future of clean energy in the region. Tension tightened the air, and even the soft classical music playing in the background felt mocking. That was when fate shifted. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected heroes, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Good Deeds Stories to support more inspiring content. Your engagement helps these real, feeling stories reach more hearts. Standing just steps away, unnoticed at first, was Zara Naveed, a waitress working the mid-day shift. She carried a tray of freshly brewed coffee, her hands steady out of habit despite the whirlwind happening around her. Zara was used to blending into the background, moving between tables in quiet efficiency, smiling politely while remaining invisible to the powerful people who frequented the hotel. But unlike what everyone assumed, she wasn't simply a waitress. Zara was a gifted linguist, fluent in 4 languages, including the one spoken by the visiting delegation. She had once dreamed of becoming a professional interpreter, studying tirelessly in hopes of building a career abroad. Life, however, had not been kind. When her father passed away, leaving behind debts and a sick mother to care for, Zara abandoned her academic dreams and took whatever work she could find to keep food on the table and medicine in their home. The restaurant job paid little, but it allowed her to return home early enough to prepare meals for her mother and check on her younger brother, who was still in school. Every morning she reminded herself that survival mattered more than dreams. As she observed the panic unfolding, she hesitated. Her mind raced with doubt. Would they take her seriously? Would she be humiliated for stepping into a world far above her status? The executives looked intimidating in their expensive suits, and the billionaire's aura demanded excellence. She imagined being scolded, dismissed, or laughed at. Yet something inside her pushed harder than fear. This wasn't just about money or prestige. She felt the weight of possibility. If she stayed silent, the opportunity, whatever it could become, would vanish. She thought of her mother's fragile condition, the unpaid bills hidden in a drawer, and the feeling of being trapped in a life that seemed too small for her abilities. With a deep breath, Zara carefully set down the tray and approached the group. Her voice was calm but firm as she offered assistance, explaining her language skills and background. For a moment, silence followed. The executives stared at her with disbelief, their skepticism obvious. A waitress claiming she could handle high-level corporate translation sounded absurd to them. But as the delegation began shuffling their papers, preparing to leave, desperation pushed Leonard to act. He studied Zara's eyes and noticed something the others missed. Confidence rooted not in arrogance, but in quiet competence. He gave a subtle nod and invited her to begin. The mood shifted instantly. Zara introduced herself to the delegation in their native language with flawless pronunciation and respectful tone. Their faces lit up with relief and appreciation, and they immediately sat back down, ready to proceed. The executives exchanged stunned looks as they witnessed the transformation. What minutes earlier had seemed doomed now felt hopeful. The meeting unfolded with breathtaking intensity. Zara translated every technical term, cultural nuance, and emotional undertone with precision. She maintained composure even when discussions grew heated or emotionally charged. Her voice carried authority without overstepping boundaries, bridging not just language, but trust. Leonard watched her closely, astonished by her skill. He realized that without her, his company would have faced catastrophic financial and reputational consequences. Reporters outside would have broadcast failure to the world, investors would have withdrawn confidence, and thousands of future jobs tied to the renewable energy project might have disappeared. Instead, Zara's intervention breathed life back into the negotiation. Sunlight streaming through the windows illuminated her, as if the universe itself recognized her moment. As hours passed, something unexpected occurred within Zara. She remembered what it felt like to use her talent, to be valued for her mind rather than her ability to carry trays. She felt alive again, as though the dream she buried had never truly died. She translated complex financial structures and technological proposals effortlessly, earning nods of admiration from both sides. The foreign delegation began requesting her input directly, asking for clarification and trusting her explanations. Leonard's executives, who had initially dismissed her, now whispered in awe. The billionaire himself leaned forward frequently, relying on her to guide the rhythm of the conversation. When the final agreement was drafted and signed, applause erupted across the room. The delegation thanked Zara personally, expressing deep gratitude for her professionalism. Cameras flashed as Leonard shook hands with their leader, announcing a monumental partnership that would fund solar infrastructure across underserved communities. While the press celebrated the billionaire's success, Zara quietly stepped back, ready to return to her position in the restaurant, believing her role was finished. She didn't expect recognition, and she certainly didn't imagine her life would change. She only felt pride knowing she had contributed to something meaningful. But as she reached for her tray again, Leonard called out to her gently. His voice held sincerity that caught her off guard. He asked her to stay for a private conversation, away from the reporters and executives. In a sunlit corner of the hall, he asked about her background, her family, and her dreams. Zara hesitated, embarrassed to reveal her struggles, but Leonard listened with genuine concern. When she admitted she once hoped to become a professional interpreter, her voice broke slightly. Years of suppressed ambition had created an emotional weight she rarely allowed herself to acknowledge. Leonard felt a connection that transcended business. He had risen from humble beginnings himself, growing up in a working-class neighborhood with little support. He understood the pain of lost dreams and the courage required to step forward when the world expected silence. He realized that Zara's talent deserved recognition and opportunity, not obscurity. Without hesitation, he offered her a full-time position as the lead interpreter and cultural liaison for his company, with a salary that would not only support her family but allow her to pursue further education. Zara was overwhelmed, tears filling her eyes as she struggled to respond. She felt disbelief, gratitude, and fear all at once. But Leonard assured her that she had earned this through her own brilliance and courage. She accepted the offer, knowing that life had just shifted in a direction she never imagined possible when she walked into work that morning. Word of her achievement spread throughout the hotel. Coworkers who once overlooked her now congratulated her proudly. Her mother cried with joy when she learned her daughter's abilities were finally recognized, feeling immense relief that their future no longer hung by a fragile thread. Zara's younger brother looked at her with admiration, inspired to pursue his own dreams. The first day she arrived at her new office, sunlight poured into the modern workspace overlooking the city. She felt nervous, but the warmth of possibility replaced the anxiety she once carried like a shadow. She wasn't just translating words anymore, she was translating lives, building bridges, and opening doors for communities that would benefit from the renewable energy project she helped secure. If this story has touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps spread messages of hope, resilience, and the impact of small acts of courage. Just before we end, please take a moment to comment what part of the story inspired you the most. It helps strengthen our community of kindness. As time passed, Zara's role grew. She traveled, advocated for cultural understanding, and became a symbol of how hidden talent can transform not only individual lives but entire industries. Yet she never lost her humility. She continued visiting her former coworkers, helping whenever she could, and supporting her family with unwavering love. Leonard often reflected on the day panic nearly destroyed everything, realizing that sometimes the greatest successes come not from wealth or power, but from the quiet bravery of someone society overlooks. The deal that saved his company and launched a clean energy revolution wasn't rescued by a high-priced expert flown in from abroad, but by a waitress with a heart full of resilience and a mind full of brilliance. The sun remained bright in the sky the day. Zara signed her first independent interpreting contract. Symbolizing hope and renewal, she finally understood that every struggle she endured had prepared her for the moment she chose courage over fear. Her story became a reminder that opportunities can appear in unexpected forms and that stepping forward, even when trembling, can change destinies. And as she looked out over the city from her office window, she whispered a silent promise to herself never to hide her light again.